my years of teaching in the craft, both spiritual principle and practical magic, one topic that tends to come up time and time again is the concept of psychic attack and defense. And I've done so much reading on the matter, but also I've lived a lot in this world and in the magical world. And I've been doing this stuff for, I think about 30 years, maybe almost now. It's a lot. And one thing that I hear a lot of teachers say is that a true psychic attack is very rare. I beg to differ. I think that a true psychic attack is probably not usually the reason why your life isn't working, but that's not to say that they don't happen. Now, let's look at the fact that there's a couple of different types of psychic attack. And one is more common than the other, but they both do happen. One type of psychic attack, which is very common, is what I would call an involuntary psychic attack. It's just a person who's either naturally or through training got the ability to focus their energy, and without necessarily meaning to, they just spray a bunch of yuck all over you and cause problems. Another version of that, instead of somebody that's spraying yuck on you, would be the psychic vampire. We've all come in contact with people with whom we feel very drained by the time we leave their presence, and that's very common. I mean, it just happens a lot. There's people that tend to, not necessarily on purpose, we're talking about involuntary. There are involuntary psychic attacks and psychic vampire type experiences that happen a lot, and that's very frequent. The world itself is just full of psychic attack. Advertising is a type of psychic attack. Salespeople can be attacking you. They don't mean to necessarily. I don't think that they would like to believe that what they're doing is an attack, but it's definitely an affront, trying to get you to behave in a certain way that may not be natural to you, or may be something that you wouldn't normally do. And there's all kinds of manipulation that goes on, and the majority of the times that it happens, the people that are involved in being manipulative don't recognize it as psychic attack. Okay, so that's, every day. We have it every day. You're bombarded with all kinds of psychic stuff that isn't necessarily healthy. Now, the other type of psychic attack is the well-trained magician or witch who you pissed off, and they are just gonna they don't necessarily care that it'll come back on them or whatever, and they're just out to get you, or they're so good at it that they can deflect the psychic energy when it rebounds. Now, we can go into the psychology of these kinds of people, and they are out there. Believe me, they might be even listening to this podcast right now. They are out there, and a lot of times what happens with these people is these people, either alone or in groups, can effect a really good, what we might call whammy on you, where they're able to just throw something at you, either something that causes irrational fear, irrational behavior, causes you to think of things that you normally wouldn't think of, to obsess on things that you normally wouldn't obsess about. If they're really good, they can even get into to where your body starts responding and you get sick. And it does happen. I mean, I've seen it happen, and it's not pretty. And these people are very deluded oftentimes as to when they think that they can protect themselves from the rebound effect. And they will, it's sort of like people that defer payment for too long. and wind up, 50 grand in credit card debt. And the fall is hard. The fall is hard with these guys, and it does happen. And they do get what's coming to them, but they sometimes are very good at deferring payment to a later date. It's just we've talked about the law of return and how it looks like what you put out comes back to you magnified. And my experience and perception of that phenomenon is that it's just that, a phenomenon. And what you put out never leaves you. But since everything, because of the law of expansion, by the time you experience it in the physical realm or in the mortal realm, it seems to have gained momentum and it seems to have come back magnified. But in fact, it never left you in the first place. All right, so psychic attack, and then there are other kinds of psychic disease that don't have anything to do with psychic attack. There are things that happen internally that are caused by our own internal worries and our own internal fears and our own internal angers and things that are just unresolved within ourselves. And that's why in my particular, the way I work and the way I teach, I focus a lot on spiritual principle, and I encourage people to have psychotherapy, especially if they're on a magical path, because it can really stir up a bunch of stuff, and it's a very wonderful thing, and it can actually be one of the most profound ways of healing and wholeness, especially in an initiatory path. But it doesn't hurt to have a therapist help you out with some of your deep psychic wounds while you're at it, so that you're well equipped to deal with these things when they come up. All right, so and then there's the elementals. The elementals, they can play, and the elementals are not bad, or they're not good. They just are, and just like intestinal flora is a type of bacteria. It's a good bacteria, but then there's bad bacteria. There's good organisms, and there's organisms are organisms, and it's good or bad based on what it does to you. If it helps you, then from your perspective, it's good. If it harms you, from your perspective, it's bad. But in and of itself, it's not good or bad. Same with the elementals. Sometimes the elementals can be very helpful, and sometimes they can be very destructive. And just like microorganisms, when things run amok and things are not in good balance elementally, you can have a psychic disturbance as well. Then, of course, there's the old poltergeist phenomena. There's that too. There's all kinds of. There's a million and one different books that are good to read on the subject about this. There's Dion Fortune's book is a classic, Psychic Self-Defense, and Melita Denning, Osborne Phillips have a good book on it, and there's good books on this stuff that you can read, so that if you really want to know more about the origins and the theories behind these phenomena and the different types of psychic planes. There are the Theosophical Society has several good books on the psychic planes that I would recommend also. But the bottom line is, what do we do? What do we do to protect ourselves? Well, remember that in Hermetic law, as above, so below. As within, so without. As the universe, so the soul. Okay, so just like in the physical world, you have an immune system, so in the astral world, you have a psychic immune system. Most of this stuff will never bother you because you've been given an immune system. You've been given a psychic immune system. And when your energy centers psychically and physiologically, see, because all the psychic energy centers astrally correspond to different glandular systems in your physical body. and people call them the chakras or the chakras, but there are energy centers in the body, and these energy centers also relate to the electromagnetic field, which we call your aura. And the aura is both physical and astral as well. There's actual electric heat that and radiation that emanates physiologically from your body, and that's usually what's picked up by Kirlian photography. But there's also a psychic counterpart to that, which is not which needs to be viewed clairvoyantly, that is not able to be measured by physical means. And the aura and the energy centers of the body are there to keep you well psychically, spiritually, and then also physically, because these things are, because remember, mental and mortal are not two separate things. One is the causative world. The mental is the causative world, and the mortal is the world of effect. And if you do much work on rising through the planes or astral projection, you know that the etheric plane right above the mortal world, right above the physical world, is the causal plane. And so when you want to do effective magic, you work at the etheric level, which is a lower astral level, and it can be a level of consciousness which is very prone to illusion. So you've got to be psychically very well in shape. You've got to be in good shape psychically to be working in these planes. So what do we do? Okay, there are several things that we can do to help to strengthen our psychic immune system, to help strengthen our aura, and to keep our aura pure and clean, so that if and when something comes our way, it's no big deal. It's really is no big deal. It's neutralized. It's neutralized, just like the white blood cells will neutralize a harmful bacteria before it can cause any problem in your physical body. Okay, so let's look at the bottom line, easy breezy cover girl way that you can help to strengthen your aura. There are several different methods that are taught, like in the Golden Dawn system, they teach the Kabbalistic cross and the lesser banishing ritual, the pentagram. And in the Ogdoadic tradition, they have the calyx and the rousing of the wardens, I think that's called, something like that. The rousing of the citadels. I think I've got that right. Anyway, there's different traditions, and then in Wicca and some witchcraft, there's there is the purification by the four elements and the magic circle, and if you're working magic in a magic circle, you also have the balance of the four quarters, the four elements, and most of you probably know what I'm talking about. If not, it's okay. It's not really the point of this talk. But what you need to do is find a way to every day energetically use one of these techniques to purify and strengthen your aura psychically. And one of the easiest ways, if you're not into doing like a Kabbalistic or a high magic kind of thing, is just to visualize. You visualize your aura. And if you're doing it for protection, I recommend that you visualize your aura all around your body. Just relax your body, breathe deeply, have nice rhythmic breathing, and visualize a blue silhouette all around your body. 365 degrees. It's all around your body. It's like a big it's like almost like an egg. All right. And that is we're going to call that a barrier. We're going to call that a boundary. And we know that your aura is probably bigger, well, definitely bigger than this boundary, but this is just for your mind to recognize a boundary around you. And then above your head, just above your head, not touching your head, not like your crown chakra, not like the crown of your head, but above your crown. Visualize a white globe of light. And then you just see that light come down through the crown of your head and fill up your body and fill up your aura and contain it within that blue barrier that you have erected in your mind, and you just keep pouring light and pouring light and pouring light, nice white, beautiful light with like glitter, like silver glitter, as a shimmering silvery white light. You could even visualize it as a full moon above your head if that helps you. And do that for as long as you can comfortably hold the visualization. Just 5 minutes is fine. 2 minutes is fine if that's all you can do. And then when you're done, just take a few breaths and see the image fade. And then if you feel any extra energy, which you probably won't, because it's your higher self that's done this, you're not raising energy, but you can feel any excess energy drain into the earth. It's a wonderful thing to do 2-3 times a day. To do that, you can also do if you're more inclined to do earth magic, you could do something similar, like the tree of life meditation, not tree of life from a Kabbalistic perspective, but the tree of life from a Wiccan perspective, where you see roots extending from the base of your spine down into the earth, and they're pulling white light up, and this energy comes up out through the crown of your head and showers back down onto the earth, and it just keeps showering, making a circuit around and around and around. And usually when you're pulling energy up from below, you will want to definitely ground any excess energy out. So you can put your palms flat on the floor or on the ground, kneeling down, and just feel that extra energy just draining away from you. So those kinds of things, and if you have something in your tradition, or if you have something that works for you, fine, but do it 2 or 3 times a day. Make sure you wake up with that and you go to bed with that, and maybe once during the middle of the day. Those are very important. They don't need to take but a few moments. And then there you are strengthening your aura. That's what you can do. Now, you can also get into the spiritual purifications that we talk about from time to time, and purifying your aura with all 4 elements. Okay, we've heard of the ritual bath, where you take salt and maybe some essential oil of lavender or hyssop into your bath, and soak in that. And while you're doing that, obviously you're seeing the white light permeating the water and cleansing your body. And if you really feel something gunky, you just take the pure sea salt, the not the rock salt, but the real fine stuff, in your hand, and you scrub your body down gently. And it's a wonderful exfoliation on top of it. I mean, your skin will be silky smooth, and you'll have a clean aura. Right? Now, if you're not into doing the ritual bath, remember, there's something about running water that's even more purifying than anything. And so a shower is wonderful, but a shower where you have charged in your mind that water as cleansing your aura, so that you see that white light permeating the water as it comes down through you. And you can do the salt scrub again if you feel like you need a little extra cleansing. You can use a salt scrub. There's a book called Spiritual Purification that has a bunch of different techniques, and they're all great. I mean, they're all fine, but you don't have to get too into it unless you love to make your life complicated. It doesn't have to be real complicated. Just a bath or a shower, and if you need some extra assistance, a little bit of salt. Best thing is in your mind is just visualizing, right? So that's your water purification. Air purification, breathing, rhythmic breathing, just a meditation on your breath, does wonders for purifying your aura. I mean, it's just amazing. It calms you down. The calmer you are, the more intense your aura shines. The more tense you are, the more your aura will shut down, and the more you'll be prone to psychic disease of some sort, right? So, just taking just a rhythmic breathing, and there's so many different ways to do it. Some people just will, and they all work, okay? Because you're focusing on your breath. One thing you can do is just to sit up with your spine straight, but in a comfortable position. If you can, in a chair, so that you're not having to hold yourself up too much, so that you can relax and just notice your breathing. Just notice it. Just don't do anything with it. Just notice it. Keep it sit up so you don't fall asleep when you do that. Another thing you can do is the alternate nostril breathing, where you take your index finger and you close one nostril, and you inhale, and you exhale by closing the other nostril. So you're inhaling through one nostril and you're exhaling through another nostril. Just that. You can add a count to that, and you can even get a metronome, and you can set it at a comfortable pace where you're counting, like, say, 8 in, hold for 8, 8 out, 8 in, hold for 8, 8 out. Some people even hold the 8 out. So it would be 8 in, hold for 8, 8 out, hold the out for 8, and then start over again. So all of these kinds of breathing exercises are wonderful meditations, but they are also a type of air purification. Another kind of air purification is smudging, or purification by smoke. And there's 1,000,001 different ways to do that. Sage is great. Frankincense and myrrh is great. There's a lot of different ways that you can do it. Sandalwood, but it's really just the idea of the smoke itself that is good. Remember, but that there is a principle of correspondence. So what you're burning, it is important. It is important. So I would stick to some traditional purification type things, but there's a lot of them. And you can get Scott Cunningham's book, Magical Herbal Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs. Or if you're more Kabbalistically inclined, you can get 777 by Aleister Crowley. Just make sure that you know how to use the tables in there. And if you don't know, find somebody that can show you. It's not that hard, but you kind of get the hang of it. Magical Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs is great, and he's got a nice index in there, which is unusual for a Llewellyn publication to have a good index. But there is a nice index in there where you can look up purification and look up the different things that you can use. So when you get the incense burning, make sure that it's on a heat-proof plate, and you can put it on the floor and just walk around it clockwise 7 times. And each time you visualize another layer of your aura being permeated. And you see the smoke as being filled with white light. Now, if you feel like you've got something really wrong with you, this isn't if something psychically wrong, somebody's attacking you or somebody's doing something, you can actually do that same thing with the incense, but instead of walking around it clockwise 7 times, walk around it backwards, counterclockwise 7 times. So you're actually walking backwards. You're walking in reverse. You're stepping behind and behind. So 7 times. So whichever method you use, the daily one would be clockwise 7 times forwards, and the one in an emergency, if something bad is happening, would be counterclockwise 7 times, visualizing the aura being permeated. And then once you're done with it, you actually step over the burning incense 3 times, so that you seal it. You step right straight over it. And that's a great thing to do for if you want to use the air purification. Some people call that fire and air, and that makes sense. But since we're dealing with smoke, we're going to call that air. Fire purification is wonderful too, and that is where you are actually doing your breathing meditation in the presence of a fire, an open fire. A candle will work, but if you have a fireplace or a bonfire, so much the better. And that's one of the great things about working with a group is if you have a Beltane fire that's been properly blessed, then everybody gets to jump that. Everybody gets to jump at least a small version of it. You actually get to jump over the burning Beltane fire, and it's a wonderful purification. And it's hard to stop doing because it feels so good psychically to do that. And so what you want to do with the fire is you want to just actually relax and breathe in the presence of the fire. That's it. Gaze into the fire. And again, you see that fire, that golden light from the fire, permeating your aura. And you notice sometimes on the live lectures, one of the meditations that I use is a type of spiritual purification. We are using a fire purification mentally because we are visualizing ourselves on top of a beautiful mountain in the center of a circular grove of trees, which is the meditation is being protected. It's a protected grove, sacred grove. And in the center of our circle, a bonfire blazes forth, and the bonfire is lighting us and the grove up with a sacred golden light. And we recognize that this light is the light of perfect love and perfect trust, and that it dissolves everything that's unlike itself. And so that's a wonderful meditation, and you can do that on your own. You don't need an actual bonfire. You can do that in your mind's eye, and it's a wonderful, wonderful meditation. Obviously, you can combine all of these things into a big long thing if you wanted to. And then earth purification, one of the best things you can do for your psychic, for your aura, is to exercise. Yeah, you work out. You get some cardiovascular workout. You do weightlifting. You do something. It doesn't have to be. You can just take a walk. But work out your body just so where you really raise your heart rate, and you sweat, and that is so purifying. And when you do that, don't just work out, but visualize the energy that you're raising as a white light that is purifying your body, purifying your mind, and obviously purifying your aura. Have you noticed that people that tend to work out a lot tend to have brighter auras than people who don't exercise? So that's a type of earth purification. So purifying by the elements and purifying in your mind's eye. Now, if you can also get together with people and do these kinds of things. And that's wonderful because it's just more powerful if you have a group, or if you have even a friend where you can do these kinds of things and you get together for spiritual purification. It helps you to keep and maintain and also obtain a very pure, light, bright aura. And so when you have your aura in top shape, you don't have to worry about psychic attack. You don't. Yeah, when your aura is bright and you're in a supermarket, a department store, and somebody wants to sell you something, or if you're in a used car lot or something and somebody's trying to sell you something, and you used to not have good sales resistance, all you have to do is just take a half a second and visualize that white light around you, and voila, you're there. You can say no a lot easier. Okay, now one final thing that I want to help you with this psychic protection is find a symbol, a sacred symbol that works for you. Like I use a pentagram, but if that's not something that works for you, maybe you like a crescent moon, or maybe you like the sign of the cross, or maybe you like a hexagram or a Star of David. Maybe you like an equal-armed cross, but it should be a very simple geometric shape. It shouldn't be something ornate, because what I want you to do is I want you to be able to visualize it on your forehead. Even if, and a good thing to do is take your index finger and actually draw this shape on your forehead. And when you draw this shape like you're anointing yourself, you can even use some anointing oil. And it's something like an abramelin oil that has a teeny bit of cinnamon is nice. Because wintergreen, because then you can feel the outline of what you've just drawn on your forehead, and it helps you to visualize white light in the shape of whatever that diagram is, right on your forehead, right on your third eye. And if you ever are in a spot where you feel like you're not safe for whatever reason, you visualize that aura, and it's going to be able to happen very, very quickly because you've been working on it 2-3 times a day, and you visualize that sign on your forehead, that star or that crescent moon or that cross on your forehead, and whatever, and you can, if you feel something coming at you, you can just take your hands in the shape of a triangle. And I wish you could see me right now, but if you just take the thumbs together, or the base of the triangle, and the index fingers, the index finger is the top of the triangle, and then all the rest of the fingers are joined together, and you just place that triangle point up, surrounding that image on your forehead, take a big deep breath and thrust your palms outward, and you feel that, and you see that symbol that's on your forehead just stretching out in this brilliant shot of white light, like a shooting star, in whatever direction you're feeling some kind of attack. And there you have it. You're safe, right? And anytime you don't feel safe and you can't do that, just visualize the symbol on your forehead and visualize that beautiful aura, and you're good to go. You really won't have anything to worry about. Keep your nose clean. If you want to make sure that you're not at the effect of psychic attack or psychic problems, make sure you're not creating them. Watch what you're thinking about people, watch how you act towards people, and watch the kinds of energy that you put out. And if your own side of the street is clean and you work on these kinds of psychic protection that we're talking about, psychic purification, you won't have a thing to worry about. And if you do, feel free to email me and I will help you out. I promise. Okay. So psychic purification and psychic protection is an ongoing process. It's a type of fitness. It's like nutrition and exercise. It's something you do every day. You don't wait until there's a problem. You just start it now and there won't be a problem.